Breaking news coming out of Houston, Texas at Joel Osteen's LAKEWOOD church. Tragic situation. Looks like there's been an active shooter. A woman, they say, between the ages of 30 to 35 years old, accompanied with a 4 to 5-year-old child who she had brought in, a young boy. And she began opening fire, and 2 off-duty police officers who were working there for some extra work were able to minimize the situation. They put her down. She is now deceased. Unfortunately, the young boy, who's 4 to 5 years of age, was also shot and is currently in the hospital in critical condition at this point in time. There's also a 57-year-old male who was also shot in the ordeal, and it's still not known if he was an accomplice to the suspect or if he was just a churchgoer who was attending service. But that person is also in the hospital at this point in time as well. The story is still developing. Joel Osteen has since come out and done a small press conference, and I'll show you that right now. Let's watch this.
You know, we're going to stay strong. We're going to continue to move forward. And there are forces of evil, but the forces that are for us, the forces of God, are stronger than that. So we're going to keep going strong and just, doing what God's called us to do, lift people up and give hope to the world. Again, I want to thank all these gentlemen because, I can only imagine if it would have happened during the 11 o'clock service. We were in between services going into the Spanish service. So, if there's anything good of it, you know what? She didn't get in there and do a whole lot worse damage. So we thank God for that. And He's watching over all of us. And as the chief says, we're going to keep going strong and bringing hope to the world. But thank you again, General.
Now, there's been a number of reports come out from people who have witnessed the situation, including some video clips where you can actually hear during the transition of the Spanish service, as they're getting ready, one of the announcers or broadcasters who's talking behind him, you can hear the audio that there's active shots going off. And also a gentleman who's inside by the elevators or escalators, rather, you can also hear those shots. So let's show you those 2 clips right now as well.
Página m3missions.com/2024. Repito.
There was also an interview given by a woman, several other people, but specifically this one that I'm about to show you is a woman, an elderly woman who talked about being there on the scene and witnessing who the shooter was, which gave some conflicting information because she said it was a male. Now, whether or not it was one of those off-duty police officers who was working there, that's still unknown, but she definitely saw a man, and then she also saw a woman. So we'll see how this all plays out, but let's hear her story right now. Check this out.
After evacuating the church?
We were escorted during the evacuation by SWAT team, by the police, the local Houston police, and also by the FBI. Okay.
Describe what you saw and or heard.
Well, we were leaving the service, and Joel was meeting and greeting everybody right outside on the 2nd floor where all this happened. And I was one of the last people to meet and greet with Joel, the pastor here. And I went into the ladies' room, and when I came out, I headed towards the nearest exit on the 2nd floor, and I heard this like the bam, bam, like mechanical sounds, like it almost sounded like folding tables were being dismantled and dropped to the floor. And then there was like, but they were erratic, okay? And then there was another set of like bam, bam, bam. And then all of a sudden it sounded, I stopped and I looked at the entrance and people were screaming and scattering. And I went, oh, no, this is not equipment being dismantled. There's something going on. And then I saw a gentleman, I'd say late 20s, early 30s, but I couldn't get a look at his face. But he was like standing like this, and it looked like a pistol because it had a long pipe on it, okay? and it was like, and he was pointing in the, not the opposite direction, but like at an angle to me.
You think he was one of the shooters or the shooter?
It had to have been, because there was a gun. There was a gun in his hand, okay?
And he wasn't an officer?
No. He was dressed in normal clothes. I couldn't describe it because it happened so fast. I just saw him, near the entrance, and he was standing like this, like almost, the feet apart, and he was like this. I mean, evidently that's where the shots were coming from. I've seen enough movies that I knew we weren't supposed to scatter. We needed to go to the nearest kind of cover, like they have big pillars in there. So instead of going straight towards the shooter, I turned around and started running with the rest of the people. But then all of a sudden there were very few people. And then I saw a room off to the side called New Beginnings, okay? And it was an info room I'd been to before. And one person was going through and one door was locked. And I went, oh my God, I've got to get in that room. And then the other person opened it and I followed them in. We hid about 10 of us, 10 adults in a closet. And there was one child in there, and no vent, but we were all praying, and we were thankful that it could have been worse.
Wild situation, a complete tragedy. Our thoughts and prayers go out to all those impacted, because something like this can be very traumatic and can stick with somebody, can mess with you. You wanting to go to a public place, a place of worship, church, to go worship God and enjoy the presence of God and hear the word of God, and being able to practice your faith and go to a place that's supposed to be a place of rest, of peace, to rejuvenate yourself and gain strength. And here an active shooter is able to come in. But it raises a number of questions for me immediately, because I begin to look at some of the schematics and hear some of the other reports regarding this situation, and it's going to be developing. I want to find out, obviously, who is this woman? Was she accompanied by somebody else? Why did she bring a child? Was a child the shield that she was trying to bring and cowardly use a child in that fashion? Is this somebody, that had mental illness, or was it somebody with a direct intention to go after Christians, churches? Now, what's interesting is on the northwest corner of the church, where there's the main entrance point, they say on the corner of Richmond and Edlow, okay, there's a bag check and a security checkpoint that you have to go through, the scanners, to enter into the facility to begin with. So it raises the question, if that's the case and they have a security checkpoint, did she open fire prior to getting into that checkpoint? Or how was she then able to get past that checkpoint and into the actual facility itself? How did this happen? How was she able to get past security? Was this a 3D printed weapon? You just start thinking of all the various aspects of what this could potentially be. And the other question then becomes, are there other casualties? Are there other people who were hit? So far on the police report, there's not, when they came out and gave their statement. And actually, let me show you that really quickly right now. Let's take a look at the police specifically talking about what took place. Let's watch.
So approximately at 1:53 p.m., a female, approximately 30, 35 years old, entered the property on the west side here in the parking lot of LAKEWOOD Church. She entered the building. She was armed with a long rifle and a trench coat with a backpack, accompanied by a small child, approximately 4 to 5 years old. Once she entered, at some point she began to fire. I want to compliment the off-duty officers who were working extra employment here. One TABC agent, 4 years of service, 38 years old. An HPD off-duty officer, 28 years old, 2 years of service. Both officers, officer and agent, engaged, striking the female. She's deceased here on the scene. Unfortunately, the 5-year-old kid was hit and is at critical condition at our local hospital. There was a 57-year-old man who didn't have anything to do with it, I don't think, was shot in the leg. He's seeking treatment in the hospital. So let's all pray for each and every one of them. Once she went down, officers reported back to us that she threatened that she had a bomb. So we searched her vehicle, our bomb squad, and also the backpack. No explosives were found, but she was also spraying some type of substance on the ground. So HFD came, and the fire chief would speak briefly on that.
So as the officer mentioned in the report, she had a backpack. She threatened as she fell down after she got shot that she had a bomb, and then she sprayed some type of unknown substance that first responders and the fire department were attending to. And we'll continue to look into that and see what's going on there. But there's several pictures and videos from outside the church showing police officers, police cars, emergency vehicles pulling up to the facility. And they even had FBI spokesperson Connor Hagan said that the FBI Houston is providing assistance to local agencies. So the FBI has even gotten involved at this point as well. Now, we will see how much information they will actually give us in regards to these details. So I will be following up on this as more information unravels here, as the story is continuing to develop. Stay close with me. If you follow me on X, I'll be posting tweets as well and letting you guys know what's going on there at Joey Vantes on X, also on IG, YouTube, Rumble. Continue to follow me for more. Thoughts and prayers go out to all those impacted. Stay with me for more as we continue to cover this report and this tragedy at Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas.